The VertiMax V8 system is a one-of-a-kind training device designed to boost high-speed force and power output for hundreds of sport-specific movements. If you want to run faster, jump higher, throw a ball and swing a bat faster, or kick a ball farther, you need to increase high-velocity power output, or basically improve your ability to apply more force to objects already moving at high velocities so you can accelerate them to even higher velocities. The measure of this ability today is commonly referred to as speed strength, and it's a vital attribute for any athlete if you want to increase your chances of being successful in any sport. Unfortunately, it's not easy to develop high-speed strength and power output effectively, especially with the basic products out there athletes have access to. That's why the V8 was created. It's the most innovative device available to improve speed strength and high-velocity power output, which will improve your ability to accelerate anything you can move relative to your body to higher velocities, like throwing a ball or accelerating relative to the ground beneath you if you're running. With the V8, athletes have the ability to uniquely challenge just about any sport-specific movement at high velocity with a stable resistance to improve high-velocity sports performance and elevate the ability to run faster, jump higher, throw faster, and hit harder in any sport. To fully appreciate how and why the V8 develops superior high-speed force and power output, it's first important to reflect on the fact that our bodies are designed to adapt to how we train. It makes perfect sense that if you train with resistance at really high velocities, your body is going to adapt to generate more force at those high training velocities, promoting acceleration to even greater speeds. Low velocity heavy lifts are important because they're a great way to increase strength, which is required in sports. However, it's important to understand the majority of your strength gains from low velocity heavy lifts at less than a mile per hour, like squats and bench presses, and even explosive Olympic lifts at 4 to 5 miles per hour, don't translate effectively to helping athletes generate more force when they're flying around in competition at 10 to 27 miles per hour. If you want to effectively target force and power development at higher velocities, then you need to augment your low velocity strength training with efficient high velocity strength training. And that's exactly what the V8 gives every athlete the opportunity to do. The V8 design routes 8 individual resistance bands up to 30 feet long on pulley systems, which accomplish 2 unique things to improve power development from 0 to 20 plus miles per hour. First, each resistance band completely retracts into the platform, so they can never go slack once attached to the athlete. If you're jump training and you dip down into the quarter or full squatted position, the resistance bands automatically retract into the base, so they can't go slack and they continue to apply the proper training load from the very start to the very end of the explosive rep. If you're targeting the hip flexors, for instance, the V8 can apply a load to the hip flexors, or any other muscle group for that matter, before motion even starts. Properly applying resistance from the start to finish of an explosive rep is the most effective way to develop power through the full range of movement and deliver maximum acceleration and speed gains. Conventional elastic bands tied to the ground or between your ankles often provide little to no resistance at the start of an explosive training movement, and that's because they're almost always slack when movement is initiated. And I can assure you, neglecting force development at the beginning of any explosive movement is not going to lead to maximizing anyone's full explosive power and speed potential. The V8 corrects that problem using a mechanical design that can load any explosive movement from start to finish for maximum power and acceleration gains through 100% of the range of motion. Secondly, remember achieving high training velocities with resistance is important if you want to improve high velocity force and power output. Conventional elastic bands are typically about 2 feet long, so if you perform an explosive movement over 3 feet in length, you're actually stretching that band 150% of its total length, and it's not uncommon to have resistance increase 500 to 1,000% in the middle of your explosive rep. That rapidly increasing resistance from stretching that short band is going to basically slam on the brakes as you're trying to accelerate through that explosive training movement, and that's going to restrict maximum training velocity, and that's exactly the opposite of what we want. With the V8, if you perform an explosive movement covering 3 feet, you end up stretching a 30-foot band about 10% of its total length, as opposed to 150% of its length in the case of the 2-foot band. So there's almost no change in resistance with the V8, from the start to finish range of the explosive movement. And that means with the V8, athletes won't get hit with a radical increase in resistance as they try to accelerate through their explosive movement, and they subsequently achieve higher training velocities, which is going to lead to superior force and power development. In summary, if you want to play fast, you have to train fast. And the VertiMax V8 gives any athlete the ability to power train with the exact motions and velocities they need to play at. That's how you get training gains to show up where you need them, and that's in competition where they count the most.